What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Evan and I make videos about hot stocks, dividends, and options. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Now in today's video, we're going to go over what you guys should expect coming up on NIO Day here and some of the announcements NIO might release on NIO Day and how that could affect NIO's share price through 2021. But before we actually jump into it, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it, and it really does help out the channel and it lets me know that you guys enjoy these videos every day. So again, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. But as always, to kind of give you guys some reference of where NIO is trading today, they're actually in the red, and this is for a couple reasons that we're going to go over. But as of right now, they're down 1.7% and they're trading right around $48. Now they did pull back all the way down to around 4% in the red, and they're starting to climb back up towards the end of the trading day here. But we know in the last week, NIO has been green and they've been recovering from some of this negative news that has come out in the last month or so. But on the 1 week, they're up almost 9% at 8.7%. And you can see most of the week they've been trading pretty positively and they've had a general upwards trend. Now on the 1 month is where you see more exaggerated on how NIO's been going down the last few weeks, and they've had that constant downwards trend. Now of course when you take out the last week where they've been going up, you can see just how much they've gone down. NIO went from a high of around $55 and they had actually pulled all the way down into the $39 range. So that was a pretty drastic drop for NIO, and we know that this was because of a few reasons that weren't even directly tied to NIO. Now of course the delisting news was tied to NIO because NIO is a Chinese EV company, and the original worry was that these Chinese EV companies would become delisted in the future. Now when this news came out, I think too many people were worried that these Chinese companies were going to be delisted in the near future, not realizing that this law that's potentially going to delist Chinese stocks isn't going to be put into effect for a few years. At the absolute earliest, it probably wouldn't be for at least 1 to 2 years. And so people can still continue investing in NIO and getting those gains. But when this news originally came out, I think people were worried that NIO and these other EV stocks would get delisted pretty soon. And so obviously we saw NIO drop quite drastically. And then there was news about these other companies like XPeng, Li Auto, and Tesla. And they all sold shares to raise capital, and then NIO jumped on that as well. And then they started pulling back too. But now that all this negative news is in the past, NIO has kind of had an opportunity to breathe again and they're starting to go back up. But in terms of their pullback today, this was actually due to some news that came out for Apple, and they actually announced that they want to release an iCar, which would be their version of a self-driving vehicle in the future. Now I'm not sure exactly when they plan to release this or when they want to begin working on this vehicle. But when you take a company like Apple, Apple is similar to Tesla in terms of them being in the US, and they're one of those top companies in the country. And they're also one of the top countries in the world. And so because Apple released this news that they plan on making a vehicle in the future, obviously these smaller EV companies that are relatively new to the space are going to be pretty affected by this kind of news. So each one of these companies pulled back a decent bit today. Because when you think about it, a company like Apple, which is one of those top companies in the world, if they transition over to making vehicles, they're going to be right up there competing with Tesla pretty soon, because we all know how the Apple environment is. They make all their products very cohesive and all their products work together. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised that their cars would be the same way. Now we know NIO is kind of trying to do a similar thing, and they're trying to get their customers in and kind of keep them in their environment. But we know how strong Apple's environment is right now. And if they get into vehicles, they're going to really put all these smaller EV companies to shame. Now, I'm not saying these smaller EV companies can't continue growing, but they're not going to be nearly as competitive when a giant company like Apple comes in, and especially if they get a few years of history behind them and a few years of producing vehicles, they're going to be one of those top auto manufacturers pretty soon. But in terms of NIO Day, which is what you guys likely came to this video for, there's a few things that NIO is going to be announcing on NIO Day that really could help shoot up their share price. Now, a lot of people would argue that a lot of these things are already priced into the price of NIO, but I would argue against that, seeing as how much NIO has dropped in the last few weeks, and they're just finally starting to recover from this negative month that they've had. And so I don't think that too many of these things are priced in, and I think realistically they should continue going up once NIO Day is come and gone, and once we see all these new technologies that NIO is working on. But for those of you who don't know, NIO Day is historically around December when NIO releases new information regarding new vehicle launches and new technology that they're working on. Now again, it's usually in December, but because everything's been delayed this year, it's going to be in January on January 9th. And there's quite a few big pieces of news that are going to be released by NIO. Now, one of the biggest and most anticipated things is the new sedan that NIO is working on, and they're going to be officially launching it at the event on NIO Day on January 9th. Now, the name of this vehicle is the ET7, and it's expected to be a mid-size sedan that's going to compete with the Tesla Model 3 and XPeng's P7 electric vehicle. And there's also a rumor that NIO is going to be releasing a second sedan at some point in 2021. Now, I don't know exactly what this other sedan is going to be named, and I'm not even so sure that this ET7 is going to be named the ET7 because I've also read that it's going to be named the EE7. But I guess we won't find out for sure until January 9th on NIO Day, and that's when we're going to get the official statement from NIO on what these vehicles are going to be named, and we should get more information regarding the second sedan that's going to be released as well. But if we actually look back to the past, in April of 2019, NIO unveiled their sedan, the ET, and this was at their Shanghai Auto Show. And so it's kind of unclear at this point whether the ET7 is a renamed version of the ET, and if it's some kind of upgraded version of the ET, or whether it's a totally different model from the ET. And again, we won't know for sure until January 9th when they reveal it. But one of the other big things going into NIO Day is the 150 kilowatt hour battery packs that NIO is going to be officially launching. Now, as most of you guys probably know, NIO recently released their 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, and they just released this in November. And this was good news for even past customers who bought their 70 and 84 kilowatt hour battery packs, because I believe they're giving customers the option to upgrade to this 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, even if they have an older vehicle with a smaller battery pack. So now going into NIO Day, when they officially launch this 150 kilowatt hour battery pack, and we see the big improvements even on the 100 kilowatt hour that was just released in November, I think we should see NIO's share price go up because of this kind of news. Because I think even for any company, even like Tesla, if they put out news like this to upgrade their battery pack so drastically, I'm sure even Tesla's share price would shoot up a pretty drastic amount. So I'm relatively sure that NIO's share price should see this as a positive catalyst, and we should see their share price go up a pretty decent amount. But to go over some of the facts about this battery pack, it's likely going to give NIO vehicles a range of over 900 kilometers. Now in miles, that's around 560 miles. So this alone is pretty huge because right there, that puts NIO vehicles in line with gas-powered vehicles in terms of their range. And even so, that's the top of the top in terms of gas-powered vehicles, because I don't know too many vehicles that go 560 miles on one tank of gas. I'm sure there's quite a few out there, but any vehicle I've ever had, they only go around 400 miles on a tank of gas. Now, I'm not going out and buying a Prius or anything like that that probably gets 50 miles per gallon, but this shows you how drastic NIO's battery upgrade is going to be. Their vehicles are going to be competing and even outdoing gas-powered vehicles, and so it gives more customers even more reason to buy electric vehicles. And it's especially convenient for customers who don't have the ability to charge their vehicles overnight, and maybe they can only charge their vehicles specific times during the week, and they can't just leave their vehicle plugged in at night. Well, almost a 600-mile range is really going to be convenient when you don't have to charge your vehicle nearly as often. But one of the last things to look forward to for NIO Day is the annual production capacity that NIO is going to be discussing. Now we know right now they want to deliver somewhere between 100 and 150,000 vehicles by the end of next year. And long term, NIO plans to double that to 300,000 per year. But it will definitely be interesting to see what NIO says on January 9th and where they think their deliveries are going to be by the end of next year. Because as of right now, that's a pretty rough estimate between 100 and 150,000. And we know that their deliveries have constantly increased because in 2019, they delivered just over 20,500 vehicles. And now in quarter 4 alone of 2020, they're expecting to deliver between 16 and 17,000. And so obviously they're growing pretty exponentially quarter after quarter. And so I do think they're going to be able to hit that 100,000 vehicle capacity limit. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see what NIO says that they're going to be delivering next year and what they plan on doing in the future. And maybe a rough estimate on where they plan to be 5 and 10 years into the future. Because even though NIO is surpassing these other auto manufacturers, like GM for example, the gains and the exponential growth isn't really going to take effect for a few years. So if they give us a rough estimate of where they'll be in 5 to 10 years, I think that will really give a lot of NIO investors a lot more hope, especially if they've been concerned with this pullback that we've seen recently, or if they're kind of concerned that NIO doesn't have what it takes to be one of these top auto manufacturers. And one other thing that's going to be anticipated is NIO's expansion to Europe, because we know recently they mentioned that they want to expand to Europe by the end of next year as well. Now, I think they're kind of rushing into it and they don't really need to expand to Europe by next year, but that's another thing to look forward to and see what they announce in terms of their expansion plans. Now, for those of you who made it this far into the video, I want to hear what you guys think down in the comments in terms of NIO Day. Do you think NIO's share price is going to react pretty positively? Or do you think they're going to react negatively after this news comes out on NIO Day, maybe figuring that this was already priced into the price of NIO? So again, let me know what you think is going to happen with NIO's share price come NIO Day. Also, I recently set up a Discord server, so if you guys want to join that, it's totally free and you guys can join if you want to. You guys can join using the link in the description, or I'm also going to pin the first comment and you guys can sign up using that link as well. Lastly, if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you guys sign up using the link in the description. When you sign up and deposit $100, you'll get 4 free stocks. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you back here in the next one. Bye.